Okay. We're here at the same time.
I know.
This is
No
a
one else,
miracle.
and no one else is here.
And no one else is here. But we're here, which is what matters, right? Because
And
we
I was
can't have a show without us. The
nope.
ratings book came out, and we are number 746 million on the
Out of
podcast.
745 million.
So we're climbing up. We're climbing up. Our goal is to be 600 millionth in podcast world.
Oh.
Well, hi everybody. We are here. Jen, guess what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for the right stuff. So I'm excited for today's show, Jen. You have no idea what we're going to talk about.
I never do.
Well, today we have a great show. But first, tell me, how's your week going?
My wonderful. I missed Monday, so.
Oh, well, I had an exciting week. I bought a tricycle.
I can't. I don't even want to see this thing.
It's great. It's pink. It's got a big basket on the back. And I figured that it would be good exercise and it'd be good preparation for when I can't drive anymore. I can at least ride a bike. So your father's called me Miss Sculch from Wizard of Oz. So I suggested that your grandmother get a tricycle, and she said, absolutely not. Those are for old ladies. So I said to her, Ma, how old is old?
Very old. Very old.
Well, she quantified it by telling me 90. She thinks tricycles are for 90-year-old women.
That makes total sense because most 90-year-olds can ride a tricycle.
Well, I'm now the proud owner of a tricycle. It's going to be delivered on July 11th, and
Sexy.
I will be biking out to Food Lion. So
remind me to never come down there again while you're down.
No, it's cool. You got to see the basket. It's got banana bars, and I'm going to buy tassels for the. It's a little bell.
This is what happens when I leave you two alone.
Okay, well, tonight's show, Jen, is about peaceful protests. I decided that since there was so much brouhaha around about January 6th, that I was going to go through the archives and see what our lefty Democrat elected officials and media moguls had to say about other protests and their response to January 6th. So we have a really interesting show, and we're going to cap it off with some actual January 6th footage from the idiots that went inside the Capitol. But we're going to start tonight off with our favorite liberal lefty of all time, AOC, and we're going to listen to her recount her travails on January 6th.
Oh yes, when she was almost raped and killed and murdered. Yes, please.
Yes, and then we're going to see what she thought about the Roe v. Wade verdict. So. Okay. Here we go with AOC.
I had a very close encounter where I thought I was going to die. Many members of Congress were almost murdered. Many congressional staffers were almost killed. And it is not an exaggeration to say that many members of the House were nearly assassinated. I myself did not even feel safe going to that extraction point because there were QAnon and white supremacist sympathizers and frankly white supremacist members of Congress in that extraction point who I know and who I had felt would disclose my location and allow me to, who would create opportunities to allow me to be hurt, kidnapped, etc.
We are here for a reason. We were born into this place and into this time for a reason. We were born for freedom because we are restorers. We were born here to be protectors. We were put on this earth to make a better future and turn the ship around.
The radical left rampaging across the country over Roe versus Wade, while Democrats attack the Supreme Court's legitimacy. The FBI is investigating after pro-abortion extremists torched a pro-life Colorado pregnancy center, leaving behind graffiti that says, "If abortions aren't safe, neither are you." In Los Angeles, a man is facing possible attempted murder charges after attacking a cop with a makeshift flamethrower during a protest over there. And total chaos in Phoenix, where Arizona lawmakers say they were held hostage by an angry crowd outside the state capitol.
First off, who's ever going to want to kidnap her? I would bring her back immediately. Second, yeah, white supremacist Congress people? Congress members? Who's that?
No, she's not exaggerating, though. She's not exaggerating.
Not at all. It started when they wanted to kidnap her. That right there is just total bullshit.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Who the hell would want to kidnap her? AOC, if someone decided to kidnap you, they would bring you back within 1 minute tops. Hi, gals. You both look fab as usual. Hello, OG Lucille.
Hi, Lucille.
And a special happy birthday to our dear friend Catherine, Lucille's daughter. I love Catherine, and I love you too, Lucille. So she's not exaggerating. They were going to assassinate the members of Congress.
No.
Later on in the show, we're going to show you some footage of people actually who were, like I said, the idiots inside the Capitol, but assassinated. She was really what? I don't know. But, she had no problem, right, with the Arizona state legislature being held hostage inside their capital because they didn't like Roe v. Wade. That was okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. Hypocrisy, my friends.
As they want to murder babies in the ninth month.
That's right, because they want to murder babies. You said it, Jen. All right, so I thought that we would resurrect somebody who you love, Jen, for this next clip. We're resurrecting not only Chris Cuomo, but Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin, as they discuss the importance of protecting the George Floyd protesters' right to oppose their government. But when it comes to Trump supporters, Cuomo doesn't even think they should have the same rights. Watch this.
All eyes are on Seattle, and Trump sees an opportunity to make everything that's happening there and really everywhere about his political opponents and their radical ranks. His move calls to dominate the people on the streets, dangling troops again. Wonder what effect that will have on people who say they are tired of being dominated. So I don't have to tell you about the situation on the ground in your city, but in terms of how it looks to the rest of the country and the president teeing it up as basically ineptitude, the inability to control your own streets. Is that fair criticism?
So I know it will shock you that the president is perhaps not giving an accurate or truthful picture. We've got 4 blocks in Seattle that you just saw pictures of that is more like a block party atmosphere. It's not an armed takeover. It's not a military junta. We will make sure that we can restore this, but we have block parties and the like in this part of Seattle all the time. It's known for that. So I think the president, number one, there is no threat right now to the public. During this time, a number one priority every American city has is to protect the First Amendment right. Our country was born at a protest. The right to gather, the right to protest, the right to challenge government when it's wrong is our most fundamental constitutional right.
What's happening in Washington deserves your attention. It may be as dangerous as the pandemic. My question is, how many red flags do we need Homeland Security just put out a warning of more possible violence to come from violent anti-government extremists fueled by false narratives that could continue to mobilize to incite or commit violence. Now, that's what the GOP has to say about this threat. Why? The only response they've had to the threat is to keep Biden from getting ahead of Homeland Security to head up the attack against this problem. Why? My argument, and it is why I caution Democrats wanting a power-sharing deal with McConnell, that is like insisting on petting a starving snake. The big mouth is gone, but the Retrumplican chorus remains, echoing his animus and hungry for more chaos.
How did he get back on TV? I thought they kicked him out.
No, that's an old clip.
Okay. Listen.
It's an old clip. I thought that I would show you juxtaposition. You know?
I got you. I didn't realize that was old, but still, yeah. I mean, our barbecues used to be like that too, or block parties with people just torching crap and throwing shit.
And raping women and shooting each other.
And the amendments, yeah, protecting the amendments.
She was protecting free speech. It was very important.
But you're only allowed to have it if you are a liberal.
Yeah, there you go. Could you imagine Eric Adams allowing people to take over a whole 5 square blocks of
He let everyone take over the whole city. What are you talking about? There was someone pissing on my pool deck yesterday. He whipped it out in front of us while we're trying to have our own block party. And he just took it out. And when my neighbor said, you're peeing where we live, he goes, I live here too. She goes, oh, that's nice. So you shit where you eat. That's wonderful. He's made it worse. He has the whole city doing whatever the hell they want.
He took over Pastavino. Who, Adams?
Or the guy that was peeing.
Oh, the guy that was peeing took over Pastavino. Oh, that's hysterical. But he lives here. So I guess he didn't want to use the bathroom. I guess that's,
Everyone just used the pool here. They don't live here. I saw 29,000 pool noodles come up with no pool passes yesterday. They threw my shit on the floor. Listen, Adams is throwing the most epic block party.
It is the most epic block party. And he's got guns and
it's terrible music.
All right. It was a bad analogy. I'm sorry. You're right. Tammy's with us. Happy Tuesday, beautiful queens. Happy Tuesday to you, our beautiful queen, Tammy. And Lucille says, Adams won.
Oh, yes. That's when he was at Seppi's and I was sitting outside and they made me leave. No, that was de Blasio. I'm sorry, not Adams. I didn't even know he was here.
Oh my gosh. Well, so Chris Cuomo, writes for the left, but not for the right. We're not allowed to have free speech if you want to support Trump. You could have free speech if you want to support everything else, but not Trump. So Lucille says, yes, he was. Okay, so now our next clip is from the infamous, remember Maxine Waters, Jen? Remember that Congresswoman? All right, and I want you, when you see, we're going to show her talking about getting in the face of the Trump cabinet, and then we're going to show you clips of her talking about January 6th, and you're going to see in the background some of the protesters in January 6th. Watch this.
We want it done now. We're going to insist on it. If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet. Let's stay the course. Let's make sure we show up wherever we have to show up. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
Is impeaching the president in just 13 days a realistic option?
Well, let me just say that not only the members of Congress and Leader Pelosi are just absolutely outraged and horrified by the attack on these from these mobs yesterday. And yes, they're going to try everything that they possibly can to make him accountable. And so, yes, attempting to try to invoke the 25th Amendment is something that should be tried. The impeachment that is being talked about, if there are ways by which to get the impeachment resolution up on the floor without having to go back through committees and do the kind of organizing that was done when it was tried, then, perhaps that can be done. I support whatever's attempted to hold this president accountable. Yes, it's going to be difficult with such a short time frame, but I think the American people want to see a response. They want to know that we are as outraged as they are and that we're attempting to make him accountable.
Well, she's not going to see anyone in a gasoline station because no one can afford gas. But other than that, violence is the key. It's the way.
Oh my God. Could you imagine if all the members of Congress were held accountable for saying stuff and inciting stuff? I just heard Nancy Pelosi the other day, when the Roe decision came out, say that the Supreme Court overturned an amendment to the Constitution without the powers of Congress. She said that in her press conference, that they overturned the amendment to the Constitution. There's no such amendment to the Constitution guaranteeing a right to abortion. It was a decision in the Supreme Court that set precedent, but there was no amendment. These freaking lefty lunatics don't even read the Constitution, but there are elected officials. Get that? I couldn't get elected borough president, and these lunatics are in Congress.
Well, what does that say?
Oh my God. Well, of course, Maxine Waters isn't the only infamous inciter, because as you recall, after her famous speech, there were people, George Floyd protesters, who were going to restaurants, harassing people at restaurants, on her say-so. But we also have Chuck Schumer. So let's listen how Chuck Schumer likens January 6th to 9/11, which was just before he threatened Kavanaugh publicly. Watch this.
It is very, very difficult to put into words what has transpired today. I have never lived through or even imagined an experience like the one we have just witnessed in this Capitol. President Franklin Roosevelt set aside December 7th, 1941, as a day that will live in infamy. Unfortunately, we can now add January 6th, 2021, to that very short list of dates in American history that will live forever in infamy. This temple to democracy was desecrated, its windows smashed, our offices vandalized. The world saw Americans' elected officials hurriedly ushered out because they were in harm's way. The House and Senate floors were places of shelter until the evacuation was ordered, leaving rioters to stalk these hallowed halls. These images were projected to the world. Foreign embassies cabled home their home capitals to report the harrowing scenes at the very heart of our democracy.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
Where are all the riots from the city when they threw Molotovs? Jimmy's daughter-in-law's brother-in-law had a Molotov thrown at a brick and shattered his jaw. He's a cop in NYPD. I mean, all of that's okay. It's okay. They really needed the police when they were all so scared about getting raped and killed at the Capitol. That's when they wanted the police there.
That's when they decided to applaud the police.
They were going to be raped and killed, but
they
are going to get raped and killed, it's fine.
When it's our life, limb, and destruction of property, it doesn't matter. It's only because it happened to them. That's the problem. Lucille said, "Where was the Capitol Police?" Well,
They
Lucille,
were actually
they were
told,
there.
well, not a lot. Actually, Nancy Pelosi was told that this was going to happen, and she pulled back security.
Yeah. And if you listened in full to the clip that I played of Maxine Waters, she actually talks about her discussion with the chief of the Capitol Police, who said that he was ready and that, they had enough and everything was fine. And in the videos that I'm going to show you, you're going to see that the Capitol Police were there. I overlaid that group of protesters walking through the velvet ropes over Chuck Schumer's speech, because I wanted people to see that was the kind of mentality of a lot of the people that had gone into the Capitol on January 6th. I mean, they were walking within the velvet ropes in a hall full of statues that were very, very valuable. They didn't damage any of it. And later on in the clips that I have, you're going to see them actually inside the chambers and how they acted inside the chambers. I'm not making any excuses for them, but it's a very different viewpoint than some of the other clips that we have.
Also, they were dressed as Vikings. So
yeah, well, one way, yeah, I've got a clip of him too.
It's like, can you have embarrassed us anymore?
Yeah. The clip that I'm going to show at the end, that is from a reporter that was undercover and kind of was with them, and it's about 12 minutes long, but I'm not showing the whole 12 minutes. I'm only showing 5 of 4. And but there's a piece in there where they're going, "Stop acting like a fool," to the Viking guy. Really, really interesting. Okay, so MSNBC, Ali Velshi made excuses for the destruction caused by George Floyd protesters when they set Minneapolis on fire, but he has no such compassion for those protesting a stolen election at the Capitol. Watch this juxtaposition. I like this one. This one's fun.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly, but fires have been started, and there's a crowd that is relishing that. There is a deep sense of grievance and complaint here, and that is the thing, that when you discount people who are doing things to public property that they shouldn't be doing, it does have to be understood that this city has got, for the last several years, an issue with police, and it's got a real sense of the deep sense of grievance of inequality.
So a bunch of conspiracy-toting seditionists acted on their defeated president's refusal to accept his election loss, and now a police officer is dead, many are injured, and one will lose an eye. And those are just the visible scars. What cannot be measured by concussions and open wounds is the hidden damage, the mental anguish that survivors of traumatic events live with every day. 2 police officers who defended the Capitol died by suicide after the attack. Their names are Jeffrey Smith and Howard Liebengood. Members of Congress spoke on the floor of the House last week. Some are breaking down in tears as they recalled the Capitol siege. Congressman Dean Phillips of Minnesota described feeling like a sitting duck, looking around and realizing that all he had to defend himself was a single pencil. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas was in the balcony of the House chamber with a group of colleagues when the chaos unfolded. She heard a gunshot right outside the chamber's doors. She crouched behind chairs and began to pray with some of her other peers. So to the United States senators who will deliberate this week, remember the consequences of what you are doing. Convicting the seditionist former president will hurt him, and you are likely to pay a political price for doing that. But not doing so is a choice that you get to make. Those who will live with the actual physical and emotional scars of January 6th had no choice.
I'm scarred by what's going on right now in the White House. Severely, severely scarred. I haven't slept since January of 20.
Since January 6th.
No, the inauguration of Biden.
Oh my God. I mean, really, they had no choice. They're severely scarred. All of a sudden, but what a weenie. Bob, use politically correct. It is what a Frankfurter.
You can't say that anymore either.
You can't say that anymore either. I mean, but the original clip is, in Minneapolis with the inferno behind him. It's mostly a protest, and it's not. What did he say? And it's not. It's not. Oh gosh, I've already forgotten.
Because it's bullshit. But why? And I used to say this with Detroit. Why would you burn down where you live? Just like the man who says he lives here, pissed all over his own home. Why would you burn where you live down?
Well, that you'll have to ask somebody else. Why destroy the city that I mean, I guess if you're angry at the government, you're going to destroy property. But
the only CVS within miles, you're going to burn it down?
Well, and how many people couldn't get what they needed?
Paper goods, party supplies. No one was able to celebrate this mess.
Lucille says the drama, I'm clutching my pearls. Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, they're creating this whole January 6th here, and we set the stage. You know what this is about. This is not about, insurrection or, that they are so pro-Capitol Police. This is about trying, they think they hit on something that might change the November elections into their favor between that and Roe. And so they're going to play it out, and they're hoping that people will watch. But I keep saying people are going to vote with their pocketbooks, and as long as gas prices keep rising,
because it gets stolen while you're going to vote, and you don't have your pocketbook.
But with a straight face, he sits there and he makes excuses for the George Floyd protesters, and he doesn't even think about how about all the small business owners, especially in some of those cities that were African American small business owners, woman small business owners, protected class, and they're now up in smoke. Literally, and they have to start from scratch. How about them? Do you think that maybe they're traumatized? No, we've got to worry about the members of Congress and their staff. It's absolutely crazy.
Crying on the floor behind a chair before she went to go kill babies when they were 9 months old.
Right, the same one that is later on going to go protest.
She's all religious.
You're not allowed to kill babies, in their 9th month, and how dare you? These are the women that are, they were so terrified that they were going to be kidnapped. I mean, really, come along. This is crazy. Well, we're going to go back now. Ferguson, Missouri, when Michael Brown was killed by a police officer. Listen to this MSNBC reporter as he lays things out about the protests. And then you're going to hear from the protesters about keeping things peaceful or not. Listen to this.
All right, good evening from Ferguson, Missouri, where we rejoin you right now. The images you are seeing of about several hundred, maybe as much to 1,000 residents of Ferguson who have gathered in the intersection in Florissant Avenue, an intersection just a few blocks from where Mike Brown was fatally shot by Ferguson police just a few days ago. 18-year-old and unarmed. The assailant, the officer who shot him, his name still not released as of yet, his or her name, I should say. The images you are seeing right now, though, very different from what we saw last night. Last night, of course, about 100 protesters here were met with armored personnel carriers. They were met with about 70 members of the police force in SWAT gear, camouflage, gas masks. They released tear gas that crept up into the side streets and into people's homes. They faced their guns at people and pointed guns directly at nonviolent protesters.
Said, I'm tired of being peaceful and tired of being calm. They've been going to war on us for over 400 years, so hey, I ain't peaceful. I ain't no protester. I'm violent.
Burn this bitch down! Burn that motherfucker down.
Straight mayhem out here.
This is just the beginning. This is going to go on just like it did before for days and days and days, and they're going to need the National Guard because it's not finna stop.
I just said it. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
We're gonna start
now I feel about these CVS and Walgreens. I love them. So why would you?
We're going to have to start a GoFundMe for Walgreens and CVS's.
Where are you going to get cheap toilet paper? And the coupons.
But I love that the reporter was like, well, why are they using tear gas and why are they in armor and why? Well, because they're setting the place on fire.
Because we've been at war for 400 years. It's okay. 400.
But again, this is the mentality, and that's why we're here. And oh, by the way, just in case, I see that our comments are light, our viewers are light. If you're on Jen's page, come over to my page so this way you can write comments. Jen, take a look and make sure that you're public.
I am.
You are public. Okay, well, I guess nobody's talking.
You make
today.
excuses. It's just our family watching.
All right, so our tens and tens of viewers have gone to ones and ones of viewers. But once again, the hypocrisy, right? We have a narrative that is being laid out for us by the liberal media, and we're gullible idiots. We're supposed to listen only to that, and they use buzzwords, peaceful protests. I don't know. I saw those fires burning, and those weren't like dolls or flags or things that were inanimate objects in the grass. No. These were building
paper goods from Walgreens. Things that you need, like toilet paper.
Jen, maybe that's why they go after the Walgreens, because they have so many paper goods. The Inferno is bigger, and all the makeup.
I have a lot to say, but I won't.
Oh my God, I can't. Oh, all right. Well, so the Ferguson protesters, actually one of them became a congressperson. Watch this. This is our newest member of Congress, and her name is Cori Bush.
Oh,
Indict, convict, send that killer cop to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as I said indict.
That's the wrong clip. I don't have Bush. Oh no, hold on a second. What happened? I'll have to see if I can upload it. That wasn't it. That was the one we
burned
just
it.
Okay, well, Cori Bush was a Ferguson protester, and now she is a member of Congress, and so I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi was happy to have her. Tammy says, really unbelievable. I agree, Tammy, 100%. It is unbelievable, and it's what concerns me greatly is that I don't have any problem whatsoever with activists becoming members of Congress, because I think that at some point they should all be activists. They should be part of the community, and they should be fighting for the community, whatever it is that community needs. But when you get there through violence, then don't turn around and preach that you don't want violence, right? Because that's what all these protests are about. They're saying that the government is violent against groups of people and they're getting elected to office. So if that's the case, don't pretend to be aghast when a protest, for something that you might not believe in, but somebody else does, turns violent or turns unruly. And that's what we saw with January 6th. Jen and I were both in Washington that day.
No, I wasn't.
No, you Well, listen, I'm going to admit that I was, I have
there's no denying it. I'm on HBO.
No problem. I don't have to admit it. I mean, it's a fact. We were there unveiling artwork, and we saw what was going on there. And from our perspective, the people who gathered there wanted one thing, and we wanted it too. Answers to what happened with that election. It was too weird. An investigation should have been opened. Pelosi requested and got an investigation into the 2000 election of George Bush. Why then couldn't there be an investigation into the 2020 elections? Not that it would have stopped who the president was, but opening an investigation would have been a good thing. But instead of investigating something that had 76 million people crazed, who voted for Trump, crazed that something was wrong with that election, they decide to have hearings on January 6th. Everybody knows what happened on January 6th. There's a million minutes of footage out there of what happened on January 6th. So there's no question what happened on January 6th. Bunch of people got together, got pissed off, went to the Capitol, went inside and demanded something.
I know what's going to happen on July 5th. Your aneurysm is going to go... Calm down. Take it down a notch.
Anyway, so that's, Cori Bush is in Congress, and you can look up, how she got there. There's plenty of footage, and I'm sorry I had the wrong clip here. I hope the rest of them are okay. Let's see here. Now, all right, this one looks right. All right, so Nancy must have been overjoyed to welcome Bush into her ranks. But here's Pelosi thanking George Floyd protesters for making their voices heard, immediately followed by her condemnation of Trump protesters. So this is two juxtaposition, not on the same day, but in the same time frame. Here you go.
Madam Speaker, can you comment on the arrest of the other three officers in Minneapolis?
Thank you.
Ms. Pelosi, we're with Freedom Fighters DC. We organized this. Do you support us?
Thank you.
Can we have your support? Elizabeth Warren endorsed us today.
Thank you so much.
Can we have your support?
Thank you.
Can we have a picture? Can we get a picture?
Sure.
We're peaceful protesters. We organized this.
Thank you.
Is it okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jackie, move it.
Thank
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Tim, thank you. Just say thank you. Just say thank you to the demonstrators. Thank you.
We've heard that world leaders have asked, is democracy okay? What is your message to people around the world watching this country go through all this?
We won that night. Democracy won that night. These people, because of the courageous work of the Capitol Police, the Metropolitan Police, and others, they were deterred in their action to stop the peaceful transfer of power. They lost. It was a failure for them. It was a victory for democracy as we returned to the Capitol that night to again ratify the peaceful transfer of power. So I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful.
Is there anything you remember most about that day?
What I remember the most and will never forget is the trauma that I saw in the eyes of the young people who were present for that violence. More than 2 hours, close to 3 hours, they were under a table in the dark with furniture pushed up against the wall, but they couldn't see because these people were there. So when I saw the destruction, I thought, yeah, okay, we'll fix it. But it'll take a longer time to do the post-traumatic stress unraveling that they caused.
What makes you certain that something like that would never happen again?
Well, let's hope that we never elect a president who will incite an insurrection on the Congress of the United States.
She's so stupid. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you support us? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to the demonstrators. I mean, this.
Thank you.
And she has the same walk as Joe Biden. Do you notice that?
Because they're both decrepit old people. What are you talking about? They need tricycles.
Angela Ricca. She needs more Botox. Yes, she does. She was as hell. Yes, yeah. She was scared as hell. Yes, she was scared as hell. Tammy, I can't. I just can't. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much.
Traumatizing.
Lucille says they need to be gone. I got to tell you something. There's not enough booze and pills to keep me in a mental state of non-PTSD until November because they have to go. I mean, they have to go.
Will they go?
Well, let's see. I mean, maybe they'll have a protest. Maybe they'll have a guy with, I don't know, horns and whatever protesting in Congress.
China hats.
China hats. That's right. And if Nancy wasn't the last word on this, another high-ranking female official. Can you guess who, Jen?
No, just tell me because there's a lot of
Kamala Harris weighed in as well. So Kamala Harris was also at the George Floyd protest in Washington, D.C. And then she also had something to say about 9/11, about January 6th. She likens it to 9/11. Watch this clip.
I learned that the greatest movements that we have seen in recent history in our country, but probably since the beginning, have been born out of protest, have been born out of understanding the power of the people to take to the streets and force their government to address what is wrong, the inequities, the inequalities, the unfairness, but also the conscience of a government is its people, to force the government to be true to the ideals that we say we hold dear.
What did you see in D.C.? What was it like to march in those protests?
You know, it was, I'll tell you one of the things, Stephen, that I saw that gives me such hope. People who seemingly have nothing in common, who know they have everything in common. It's a beautiful sight. People of every race, age, gender, together.
Certain dates echo throughout history, including dates that instantly remind all who have lived through them where they were and what they were doing when our democracy came under assault. December 7th, 1941, September 11th, 2001, and January 6th, 2021. What the extremists who roamed these halls targeted was not only the lives of elected leaders. What they sought to degrade and destroy was not only a building, hallowed as it is. What they were assaulting were the institutions, the values, the ideals that generations of Americans have marched, picketed, and shed blood to establish and defend.
Every time I hear them speak, I just want to die. I just want to die.
You have trauma.
I need to see my therapist. Immediately.
How the hell did you get as far as she did, idiot? A laugh reflex, idiot. Lucille is very liberal with the word idiot tonight. This is our country. These are our elected officials. Here's who they are. hypocrites to the bone. I mean, if you're going to defend somebody's right to protest, you have to defend everybody's right to protest. And, that's it.
Bloodshed. Again, cops were hit with bricks in the face. Bloodshed.
Absolutely. But we don't talk about that.
And horses, not even people, horses. And when we do
right.
horses, people, cars, Rite Aids, Walgreens.
Jennifer's traumatized over Rite Aid and Walgreens. Angela said, my eyes bleed when I look at her.
They have so much Botox, more than me, so that nobody could see them even smirk when they're bullshitting all of you. Did you ever look at what's her name's Hochul's eyes? Her eyebrows come up to the back of her hairline. Who did that to her? It is so terrifying to look at her. But they're literally up here.
I'm gonna get a picture of Hochul so that we can put it up whenever you mention her name. Oh my God, I can't. But did you see Kamala's face when she was talking about the right to protest and the George Floyd protesters, and she had this wistful look on her face about how everybody was so kumbaya. We could say the same thing. Everybody was kumbaya before they weren't. Everybody, right?
We'll start off calm.
The ladies in the red hats, right? They were about 70 years old. Some of them had bicycles.
Tricycles.
Yeah, they were on the lawn, and they felt like they were making a statement about their government.
Well, yeah, we were also on the other side of the Capitol. Remember that too.
Yeah.
We were on the opposite side of where everything was happening.
Yeah,
we didn't know until we got back and saw the news. We're like, where is that? And it's the other side.
But again, right? It depends on your point of view. Where we were, it was kumbaya. I mean, ultimately, our side got crazy too, Jen.
Ultimately, our side of the Capitol was a lot.
Right, the side that we were on. You'll see that side too had some problems way after we left. But it's one. When you have that many people together, so angry about something, so passionate about something, it's inevitable that one spark could cause an eruption. And that's
Christmas dinner at our house back in the 80s. You all have families. Someone has a little too much to drink, a few too many martinis.
Oh my God.
All of a sudden, kids are crying and everything is ruined.
Right. Christmas dinner on steroids. That's what protests are. And you never know. But who's to say if this issue is important to you and not to me? That doesn't mean you're wrong. It means that I don't agree with your issue. But you have just as much right to protest.
But they're doing the exact same thing. If you say something on social media that they don't agree with, you get banned.
Yep.
All of my friends are in prison. They've been there for like 2 years.
Apparently our audience is in prison too.
That's what we're going to go with. They're all in Facebook jail.
Angela says New Hocus Pocus cast Pelosi, Kamala, and AOC. I agree, Angela. That would be definitely a great cast. I like that. So our audience is in Facebook prison. Listen, I got a call today from somebody I haven't spoken to in 15 years. And he called me because he's actually coming up to New York. He is a great guy. His name is James Bovin. You might know him from Staten Island Arts and Culture. He's gay. He's hip. He is chic, and now he's a much older man, and he's been living in Florida. And he called me today to tell me he's coming back to New York because Florida is not his jam. And while we were talking, he says, I see you made national news with your Hitler comment. He says,
we spoke about never mentioning this again.
I know it's good. And so, and he said, you know, this is ridiculous. Now, this is a liberal Democrat who is a friend of mine, and he said, you know what? Anybody that knows you, Leticia, anybody that knows you knows that that is not who you are. So you can't judge books by their covers. You can't judge things by little clips. And we try to bring you.
Plus, they're burning down major chain pharmacies.
Unless they're going after CVS, Walgreens, or Rite Aid, Jennifer will hold a grudge against you forever, and there will be no redeeming yourself. So I saved the culmination clip, I guess this is, and I hope everybody's been enjoying the juxtaposition, because that's, you know, we see things in sound bites and we forget what we saw before, and depending on where you watch your TV, you might not see everything. So we're going to wind this up with Trump's actual words, not the whole speech, but the actual words about going down to the Capitol. And then we're going to see the clips of this 12-minute video from this reporter from the New Yorker. I think that it's, you know, I think it's a fair representation about what happened, except for the velvet ropes, which I threw in throughout the other clips. So here we go.
Come to demand that Congress do the right thing and only count the electors who have been lawfully slated. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections, but whether or not they stand strong for our country. Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Million of us out there, and we are listening to Trump. You're the boss. It's sad. It's sad. Let the people in. Hey, it ain't safe for you guys. Where the fuck are they? Where are they?
While we're here, we might as well set up a government. This is our house.
No, this is our chair.
I agree with you, brother, but it's not ours. It belongs to the Vice President of the United States when he's in here. It's not our chair. Look, I love you guys, you're brothers, but we can't be disrespectful.
And look here, look. Ted Cruz's objection to the Arizona. His objection. He was going to sell us out all along. Really? Look, objection to counting electoral votes of the state of Arizona. Can I get a photo of that? Wait, no, that's okay. All right, I'm pissed. He's with us.
I got shot in the face. I got shot in the face with some kind of plastic bullet.
Any chance I could get you guys to leave the Senate wing?
We will. I've been making sure they ain't disrespecting the place.
Okay, just want to let you guys know this is like the sacredest place.
A prayer. Let's all say a prayer in this sacred space.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for gracing us with this opportunity. Thank you. Let me take it back. Thank you, Heavenly Father.
Amen.
For this opportunity to stand up for our God-given unalienable rights. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration
needed to these police officers to allow us in this building, to allow us to exercise our rights, to allow us to send a message to all the tyrants, the communists, and the globalists that this is our nation, not theirs.
This one. Keep everything good. We're trying to push everything out. We support you guys, okay? We support you guys. We support you guys, and we appreciate what you're doing. We know you're doing your job.
Break all the windows! That's all you got!
And that's why you need adult chaperones on class trips. That is the worst class trip ever. This is why you kids can't go to the zoo anymore. Permission slips must be handed in.
Thank God they didn't set up a new government. They're as bad as the ones we have already. Oh, look, Ted Cruz was going to sell us out. He's going against certifying Arizona. Oh, wait, what? That's a good thing. Wait, never mind. I'm just pissed. I don't.
It's not your chair. Get to the back of the bus, Rodney.
I mean, what a bunch of freaking idiots.
Oh my God. Worst class trip ever.
Yay, we're getting in, and then they come out in a puff of tear gas. Oh my God. And how about let's say a prayer. Take off their hats. I mean, really, you're going to tell me that was the most terrifying thing ever? Really? They were walking between the velvet ropes, for God's sake.
Imagine the poor man engaged to AOC that has to wake up to her face every morning. That is the most terrifying thing ever.
Well, maybe
that causes trauma.
Maybe it's one of them, and they're secretly planning to kidnap her. Maybe one of them slipped in. I mean, listen. I'll say it over and over again. What a bunch of assholes. What did they think they were going to do? Okay, I get it. They wanted to protest. They were protesting on the lawn. They should have stayed on the lawn. That's where they belonged. They were sending a message. You're going in there and you don't even know what you're looking for. How about the guy? Is this the Senate?
Is the Senate?
Is this the Senate?
Where are we?
I loved it that they couldn't get the door open. They didn't burst it down. The guy reaches up and unlatches it and opens it gently. I mean, but politics are very much like war. We may even have to use poison gas at times. Winston Churchill. I agree with you, Peter. I agree. But, at least let's have a general, a plan, or whatever. That was clearly.
They had a general, the guy with the horns. Clearly, that was their leader. Clearly.
I mean, it was that, when you think about that and you think about what happened in Ferguson, what happened in Portland, what happened in Seattle, what happened in Minneapolis.
New York City.
I mean, in New York, two different mentalities for sure. And I'm not going to say that people didn't get hurt. They did. If you watch, I think that the title of that is a reporter videos, January 6th. Google it. It's worth it to watch it from beginning to end. It was clear there were those people that were going against the police, and then there were other, and then the group that goes inside apologizes. We support you, brother. We support you. I mean, this is again, this was no 9/11. The problem is that it happened on their, to them. The ones that are protected by police, the ones that are, chauffeured around in limousines, the people that are above us all. It doesn't matter when it happens to us. When Jennifer's CVS gets burnt out and she can't go get her toilet paper, they don't give a shit about that, but they give a shit about
no
January.
pun intended.
So, peaceful protests, we gave it to you raw. This is what was. There's still a lot of dis and misinformation going on about what actually happened on January 6th, just like there's a lot of dis and misinformation about everything that goes on in this country, because everybody's a reporter. But I thought it would be fun. I hope you thought it was fun too, to see side by side the hypocrisy and make a decision for yourself. I mean, personally, I think that that was a class trip gone awry.
100%.
100%. All right, well, we're over. I don't know how that happened. Jen, it's lovely to see you and your fabulous tan. Our audience of the ones and ones of people, thank you for sticking with us on a beautiful summer night.
We're very sorry.
Hope to see you again next Tuesday. I have no idea what we'll talk about, but let's see what's in the news. Everybody, it was great seeing you again. Thanks for your comments. And Peter, it's always great to see you.